behind the music involved in Macbeth, the launch, which takes place on the 4th of September, is Martin Andrews, which is good to meet you. Hello, thanks for joining me. So, what started you along the line of developing this project?
Yeah, so I don't know if some of the others mentioned earlier, but it was David Landberg's original script, and we actually met. I'm from Manchester, lived in Manchester 25 years, but then kind of moved out of London, carried on doing music, ended up in Oxford. So I was working in Oxford, a gallery, and at the gallery, I met David. He came in, and he just started talking about Manchester music scene. He said, "You're from Manchester, you can tell by your accent." I've lost it completely. And we just started like chatting about...
Far from it.
Yeah, we started chatting about, you know, what he's done creatively, what I do creatively, because I've been a musician all these years. He said, "You know what, I've got this script called Macbeth, you don't want to do some music, do you?" And I have lots of conversations in this gallery. And then the next day, he kind of sent us an advance and said, "I'm serious. I want an album here." And then, you know, spent the last 6 months writing.
So how long ago was this?
Well, it has taken a little while, because it's probably like a good year or so to get everything in place. We want to do it right. I had to get a band together, so I kind of did it in reverse. Normally when you put an album out, you kind of already have the band, you've already been gigging, whereas with this case, it was a case of writing the album based on his script, telling the story through music, and then getting the kind of the weird sisters on board, some of the female singers, you know, who can kind of tell that part of the story, getting the bassist, the guitarist on board, some of the production stuff, and then the visuals as well, so we actually had a show. So within about a year, we had the album, we had the stage show, and we've got a band. And this is what we're now wanting to launch in Manchester. Okay,
is it something new for you? Have you done something similar to this in the past?
I think normally I've always been in bands, I've always DJed, I've always promoted nights, I've always been doing music, but I think as a concept thing like this was a new thing where someone had come with something already done, and I just had to finish it off in musical form. So normally I perform as Octavia Freud, and that's more electronic and kind of vocals and stuff, but this was really nice that, you know, I remember studying Macbeth at school and not really liking it, but to then have the opportunity to make it in a very contemporary way, in a way that I grew up in Manchester, I could tell that story from those experiences. I went to Hacienda. I could actually kind of explain to people who don't really like Shakespeare what those themes are like, you know, ambition,
power
corrupt, yeah, and talk about spiking and stuff. You know, there's a classic spiking where Lady M or whatever and Macbeth, they decide to spike the security so they can get to Duncan and stab him in the toilets in the club. So all that kind of contemporary...
Martin's referring here to the partnership with Stemper Spark in the campaign. Her Dawn Dies will figure in the production on the 14th of September. Tell me about Hacienda, because I mean, obviously coming from London, we did hear about it. We heard what was going on in the Manchester music scene. It all sounded very exciting. What about the Hacienda? Lived experience is always good, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky that my dad had a massive record collection. I had 3 older sisters. They were punks. They were a bit older than me. So when it came to about 87, 88, when Acid House suddenly took over in Manchester, like I say, we'd had factoryism, everyone was a bit grim, everyone wanted a party. So suddenly they built this kind of cathedral of sound, and I'm a 17-year-old, I'm trying to kind of blag some ID to get into this amazing industrial space. I walk in there, it's a massive space, Acid House, never heard it in my life. Everyone, all the kids are wanting something new. It was an amazing experience. So that's
visually, you know, describe it visually. You just said it's not industrial. I mean, I know where the building is now, because it's a block of flats now, isn't it? Which it's always a bit sad, I think. But then anyway, tell me about what the visual experience is.
Well, the first thing is you walk up Whitworth Street, you just hear the bass. So because it travels, just Chicago House, just the bass, you can hear it. Then you see the queue.
It means nothing to me. Please tell me what Chicago House is.
I mean,
I'm 50, 60.
I mean, basically, when you've gone from kind of a rock band, guitars, drums, bass guitar, and then you've gone from kind of 303s and 808s, so this kind of like the kick drum of the 808, so this new drum machine from Chicago, all the producers were playing with these drum machines, and then the 303, which all the acid house things. So this new technology, they were playing with it, they didn't know really what they were doing, they're creating these kind of Chicago house tunes, kind of like gospel tunes, but contemporary kind of like electronic music, you know, Kraftwerk and stuff, but take it out to the masses where the masses could dance to it and feel it was part of them. So you'd hear the music, you just hear the FUD as you're walking up, you'd see the queue and you're thinking, well, have I got ID? Can I get in? And then you're just hoping you get in, otherwise you're going to end up at the Ritz or something round the corner. You get in.
It probably wasn't as good, right?
No, the first thing you get in, you see the picture of Tony Wilson framed up. So he's there. And then you've got these kind of butcher sheets, these plastic sheets that you have to walk through, So it's very theatrical, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but the killer thing is, as you go through the theatre, you know, normally on a Saturday night, a few years before, you just have blokes getting drunk, copping off with women, shiny shoes, black trousers, white shirt, nothing like that. You just got young people dancing all night. You walk in, it's the warehouse. It's a massive warehouse space. It's the whole legacy of Manchester, kind of Victorian era of the warehouses, of the cotton industry. You know, we're using this kind of the intrinsic kind of architecture of our history and updating it for a younger generation to feel that they've got a voice. They've got a voice for your music, they've got some hope. So this is 88, 89, and the city was it was the best place to have a party. I mean, the best after parties on the night buses home, everyone's skinning up on the night buses. The police are raiding the night buses because there's so much partying going on in the city. For a year, it took about Paris, New York, Berlin, Manchester was where it was at.
Well, you've captured that brilliantly. Even I would want to go to that. That sounds
yeah.
great. Okay, listen. You mentioned Tony Wilson. He was obviously a big influence around Manchester at that time on the music scene. We've got Brian Gorman who's playing him in this production on the 14th of September. How do you see that working in terms of music, the music and his performance of Tony Wilson at the same time? How do you see that happening?
Yeah, well, so we have tried it out at Modern Oxford, and it worked really well. And the way we did it was he was in character, I was in character. So I was kind of a minor character of Macbeth's club, right, called Glammies.
Yeah.
And Tony Wilson, as in Brian or whatever, gets to talk to me and introduce the album as I'm performing the song, but he gets to talk to me between the songs, and he gets me to explain what the songs mean. And as I'm explaining the songs, I'm talking about my experiences of being at Glammies in 88, 89, 90 and working for Macbeth and seeing all the madness that went on, and seeing the drugs, seeing the guns, and seeing the kind of the ambition and greed and the murder. But I was the only one that survived it. They all died by the end of the story. So I'm this minor character that just survived this, and Tony's drawing out this history that actually draws on the history of Manchester music, but he tells this Shakespearean story as we do that. So he's the one who draws that all out, and obviously being such a kind of legendary character from that musical history of the city, he's a perfect kind of one to just be kind of drawing that out of the musician.
That's very interesting. So you mentioned the poisoning process in Macbeth as a part of the story, and also the Stand Pat Sparking campaign run by Dawn Dines. Is that going to be worked into the production somehow?
I think so. It's really important that somehow we kind of use that Shakespearean moment where it is in the Macbeth story, as I say, where the security, and that gives them a chance to kind of then get to Duncan, kill Duncan.
Because power is about using poison to gain power.
And you can start seeing the psychopathic brain of Macbeth at this point. And once he's killed, he's got to kill again and kill again. And unfortunately, I'm not saying people are killing with spiking, but they're killing the vibe. When I mean, basically, one of the singers on stage was Mila. She was spiked in Berlin last year, and luckily her boyfriend was able to find her and realise what was going on, and they looked at the CCTV the next day, and it was dodgy, you know what I mean? Something could have happened. She got away with it, but you realise that, you know, you'll know someone, or someone will know someone, and it's happening.
I think everybody I've ever spoken to knows of someone or has had it done to them directly. It's a really cowardly, vicious thing to do, isn't it? It's vile.
Exactly. So we can take some of that attention from the show and actually kind of really back this campaign and say, look, you know, when you're talking about the twisted character of Macbeth, actually by the end of the story, Manchester is quite pleased that this kind of small-time gangster's out of the picture and they can get back to partying. And
no spoilers here, but it doesn't know where Macbeth.
But equally, it'd be quite nice if, you know, we can back that kind of message as well.
Very good. I'm sure Dawn will be very happy with that. So tell me, this is the album, okay? So how many tracks are on it? 13. Mm-hmm. There we go. How are people going to get hold of this if they like the music?
Yeah, okay, so we've got the regular kind of websites, macbeth.com, macbeth.co.uk. Okay. That's for the whole project. I'm Octavia Freud and the Weird Sisters, so again, octaviafreud.com. So it's all on Spotify, it's all on Apple. You can get it, you can buy the physical thing, you can download the music, or you can come to one of the live shows. So really the 14th of September one here at Band on the Wall, which is where I think Joy Division signed their contract with Tony Wilson.
Wow.
This is the place we want to kind of really push, and we want people to know about the project, and we want people to hear this live. Really.
It sounds excellent. I'm going to be there. Nice to meet you.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers.